From KVUE News in Austin, you're watching Texas This Week with Ashley Goudeau.
Good morning and thank you for watching Texas This Week. Election day is upon us. On Tuesday, Texans will cast ballots in the primary runoff elections. Democrats and Republicans deciding which candidates from their parties will be on the ballot in November. While all eyes are on the Republican runoff for U.S. Senate, GOP voters have another big race on the ballot, Attorney General. Back in March, State Senator Maize Middleton from Galveston performed better than expected, ending the night with 39% of the vote in a four-way race. Congressman Chip Roy from Austin got 31% of the vote, and now the two are in a fiery match. This morning, we are bringing you interviews with both candidates as they make their case to voters. We start with Senator Middleton. I want you to tell me what you feel like is the biggest difference between you and your opponent in this race, Congressman Chip Roy.
Well, Chip Roy is someone who has spent a decade fighting President Trump, right? He actually gave a speech on the U.S. House floor that said President Trump committed impeachable conduct. He sided with Liz Cheney against the president. In fact, Liz Cheney later endorsed Chip Roy for a congressional leadership role. And then not only that, he worked for one of the largest anti-Trump groups in 2024, spending millions of dollars opposing President Trump in that last election. And thankfully, he was not successful because President Trump is the greatest president we have ever had. But look, Chip Roy did work for the AG's office in 2016. But do y'all want to know how that ended? He was told resign or be fired because of gross insubordination. And I don't know about y'all, but when you tell someone resign or be fired, you don't let them back in the building. Here's another difference in our judgment as well. The ban on child transgender surgeries, right? One of the most important roles in government is protecting kids. Macy and I were blessed to have 4 little ones at home. They're my daily reminder of what we're fighting for here. And I fought to ban the evil practice of child transgender surgeries. We got it done in 2025. It took a couple years to pass. Actually, it doesn't just ban the surgeries. It bans the chemical castration, the gender-modifying drugs that were sterilizing kids. Well, there's something very similar that went through Congress. It was a total ban. It was a strong bill, and it was on the U.S. House floor. And what did Chip Roy do? He offered an amendment to allow this evil practice of private child transgender surgeries to continue, that rewarded the transgender lobby, that rewarded Gavin Newsom. And look, I'm here to ban all evil, not just taxpayer-funded evil. And there is no right to harm a child. And that is why Eaton Heim, the whistleblower at Texas Children's Hospital, endorsed me today, because he knows I will fight to protect Texas with every resource and every tool, including our children that they're coming after. The left is coming for our kids.
Senator Middleton, you face some criticism from your opponents, both in the March primary and now, about your legal experience and what your opponents say is a lack of trial experience being in the courtroom. What do you say to that criticism?
Look, Attorney General Ken Paxton is not in the courtroom every day. And the reason why is he's busy leading. This is a 4,000 person agency. It's 750 attorneys. You're setting the conservative agenda for this entire state. And look, that's what this is really about. It's about defeating the left. And so I'm the only one in this race. And there's a reason for this, that I'm the only one that's been protested at the Texas Capitol during this campaign. They had these big ugly green signs with my face on it, and they called me the bathroom bigot. Why? Because I don't want men in my little girl's restroom or locker room or shower. There's also a reason why the 2 Democrats in this race, Joe Jaworski and Nathan Johnson, they had a big debate amongst themselves, a Democrat primary debate. And they said the guy we got to stop, the guy we cannot allow to get elected Attorney General is this MAGA Maze guy. There's also a reason why they've gone after me and my family and threatened me. So the reason why I've been protested at the Capitol, the reason why the Democrats in this race are saying I'm the one to stop, the reason why that they're threatening me is the left knows who their true enemy is in this race, and it's me.
I want you to tell us some final thoughts, share some final thoughts with our viewers about why they should elect you on Election Day.
From day one in office, I have always been ranked as the top 1 or 2 most conservative members of the legislature. I was chairman of the Texas House Freedom Caucus, now in the Senate, top 1 or 2 most conservative members there. And like our president, I give away the salary. I give away the pension. I give away the health care. I don't take the state license plate. I don't take the lobbyist NFL tickets. I don't take the lobbyist ski trips. I am only here to serve and fight for the conservative values that we believe in. And the left cannot get to me, the Austin swamp cannot get to me, and that is why they're fighting to stop me in this election. But I will never relent in this fight for our Christian conservative values in Texas. And this is it, right here, right now. We don't have another Texas to move to. And if we lose this state, we lose this entire country. It is it. And with every fiber in my being, I will protect and defend those God-granted, and our rights are from God, not government, by the way, those God-granted freedoms that our founding fathers fought for in 1836, not very far from where I am right now at the Battle of San Jacinto. They were outgunned, they were outnumbered, they had lost the Alamo. At Goliad, everyone had been slaughtered, but yet they persisted with that grit that we have inside every Texan, and those values, those convictions are the reason why I know we will win these fights.
What do you want Republican voters to know is the biggest difference between you and your opponent in this race?
Well, the key thing that people are reacting to across the state of Texas is our very wide disparity in our experiences as a lawyer. I have been a federal prosecutor. I've put bad guys in jail. I've run complex litigation, served as the first assistant attorney general. I've been a lawyer to Governor Perry. I've been in deep practice of the law since I left law school. My opponent has not. He's never seen the inside of a courtroom. He's never meaningfully practiced law. And I think that matters. This is the attorney general of the state of Texas. The 8th biggest economy in the world. One of the most important jobs in the entire country, legally speaking, running the biggest law firm in the state of Texas. My opponent tries to dismiss it as a managerial position. It's not. It's a very important legal position where you have to be able to manage complex legal topics. So that experience makes a big difference, and people across the state of Texas have been responding to that message.
In terms of what he says to that criticism, right, that it's a managerial position, that General Paxton is not in the courtroom, and he says that the focus of the Attorney General is really on priorities of the state. What do you say to that in terms of, the legislation that the AG's office passes and fights, or not passes, but fights, rather?
Well, that is said like someone too naive to be the Attorney General. Frankly, someone who doesn't understand the inner workings of the Office of Attorney General. He's dismissing that which is critical to it, which is having the ability to make important legal decisions. You may or may not be in the courtroom. By the way, some attorneys general are in the courtroom, and I might actually put myself in the courtroom if it's in the best interest of the state. My opponent would never do that because he's never had the experience to do it. Frankly, I don't even know if I could hire him for an entry-level position at the Office of Attorney General when I'm the nominee and then ultimately the Attorney General. And these decisions, you have to have some deep understanding so you don't make mistakes. He's made those mistakes as a state senator, introducing legislation that would have made it easier for Epic City to be able to have Sharia compounds and other issues because he didn't study the law. He just took a bill that was handed to him by lobbyists in Austin. Look, I will challenge the Austin swamp top to bottom regardless of party, and a lot of people here know that. And I think that's why some in the Austin swamp are a little nervous about a potential Attorney General Chip Roy. But the people of Texas, when they hear the message, they're delighted to have somebody who recognizes that the Austin swamp is every bit as bad as the Washington swamp.
I want to ask you about some of the criticism that he has toward you. He says that you spent a decade fighting against President Trump, that you worked for an anti-Trump group in 2024, and that you were told when you worked at the AG's office to resign or be fired because of insubordination. How do you respond to all of those claims from him?
Well, I've got the #1 voting record in the entire United States Congress. That's all 435 in terms of the America First agenda. I am literally leading as the lead author what the president described as his favorite piece of legislation, the Save America Act. The president and I have a great working relationship. We delivered on the big, beautiful bill. I spent countless hours pulling together coalitions to deliver. And the president said about me in Kerrville, while we were in the wake of those disastrous floods, and he came out and he said, look, I spent a lot of time with Chip Roy last week on the big, beautiful bill. He's not easy, but he's good. That's the best endorsement I could get from the President of the United States. Somebody he respects, somebody he knows can be a tough negotiator, but who will deliver results, is good at what he does. Maize Middleton wouldn't know anything about that. How could he? He's not been in the cauldron. He's never had to have any engagement with the president. The president wouldn't know him if he ran into him in an alley or in the hallway in Congress. He knows who I am because I've been delivering results alongside the president for the people of Texas.
I want to ask you about something you said there, in particular about draining the Austin Swamp, fighting the Austin Swamp. You said regardless of party. Why is that important for people to know that you will go after Republicans just as well as Democrats if you feel like what they're doing is not in the best interest of Texans?
We swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of Texas. We have a duty to defend the law. And I believe that one-party rule exists because, frankly, my Democrat colleagues are mostly insane and are pushing policies the people of Texas don't want. I believe we're going to win this November as a result of that, and I'm proud of that. I'm a proud Republican. But we've actually got to look ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves whether we've done everything we can do to minimize the size of government, to make sure we're effective, to make sure open government and transparency is being protected, make sure child support is being carried out appropriately for the people of Texas, to make sure that our property taxes, that we don't just go out and give a speech and say, oh, we cut your property taxes, but your bill is still pretty dang big every year. I don't think you should do things for political headlines. I think you got to deliver under the law and the Constitution. As Attorney General, that's what I'll do. And I'm afraid of no one. I fear the Lord. I don't fear political reprisal. So a lot of people in Austin know that to be true. I've got great friends in Washington who've grown to respect me as someone who's an honest deal maker, somebody who will try to get things done the right way, but who's unafraid to stand up and say no in order to try to force the conversation and force change. That's who you want in your leaders.
Republicans aren't the only ones deciding who will be on the ballot for Attorney General in November. Democrats are deciding between State Senator Nathan Johnson and former Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski. And of course, the race the country is watching is for the U.S. Senate. Incumbent Senator John Cornyn going head-to-head with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Election day is May 26th. And after the polls close, join us on KVUE Plus. We'll have live results and analysis starting at 8 p.m. That's Texas This Week.